Hi, welcome to my video on solve by a variation of the square root property. A variation. The variation of the square root property is that the square is on a binomial. So before we had x squared plus e equals 0 with an a in the front, but now the x is be replaced by x plus d. So to solve this variation, we will follow these steps. We will move e to the right side and change the sign. We'll do the square root of both sides, and the plus minus has to go on the right side. We simplify each side. We move the d to the right side and change the sign, and then we simplify. So let's do some examples, just a variation. So x minus 1 all squared plus 9, so the x minus 1 squared equals plus 9. So the square root of x plus 1 squared equals plus or minus the square root of 9. So x plus 1 equals plus or minus 3. So x equals negative 1 plus or minus 3. So x is negative 1 plus 3 or negative 1 minus 3. So x equals 2 or negative 4. Again, the quadratic is square. We have two roots, two solutions. And b is the same, so we have an x plus 6 squared equals 100. When you move it to the right, change the sign. And we got the square root of x plus 6 squared equals plus or minus the square root of 100. Simplify. The square root of x plus 6 squared is x plus 6. The square root of 100 is 10 plus minus. So x equals negative 6 plus or minus 10. X is negative 6 plus 10 or negative 6 minus 10. So x is equal to 4 or negative 16. Again, two solutions because it's quadratic. Number C part. C is x minus 2 squared, all squared, equals 7. So we'll do the square root of both sides. Plus minus on the right side, because there's two solutions. So x minus 2 equals plus or minus root 7. The root 7 can't be simplified. So x equals 2 plus or minus root 7. So x is equal to 2 plus root 7 or 2 minus root 7. The root 7 can be changed to a decimal, but we want the exact values. So 2 plus root 7 has to stay because the square root of 7 can't be added to the 2. And d, we have the square root, so we'll have bracket x plus the square root of 3 all squared equals 12. So the square root, let's do the square root of x plus root 3 squared plus or minus the square root of 12, and the square root of x plus root 3 all squared is x plus root 3 equals plus or minus, now the root of 12 is 4 times 3, so that gives me square root of 4 is 2, so that's a 2 root 3. So this is x equals negative root 3 plus or minus 2 root 3. So x is equal to negative root 3 plus 2 root 3 or negative root 3 minus 2 root 3. So x is equal to, both of these are the same roots. So negative 1 plus 2 is 1 root 3, or negative 1 subtract 2 is negative 3 root 3. Again, a quadratic has two solutions. And more practice. Practice means give you a chance to work each one of these out. Pause the video, work one out at a time, press play for each one to see if you're going to get it right. So here we go. X minus 4 squared equals 1. The square root of x minus 4 squared equals plus or minus the root of 1. x minus 4 equals plus or minus, square root of 1 is 1. So x equals 4 plus or minus 1. X is 4 plus 1, or 4 minus 1. X equals 5 or 3. Number 2, x plus 3 squared equals 25. The square root of both sides, but don't forget to do the plus minus. As x plus 3 equals plus or minus the square root of 5, x equals negative 3 plus or minus 5, and negative 3 plus 5, or negative 3 minus 5. So that's a 2, or negative 8. And number 3, x minus 9 squared equals 6. And the square root of x minus 9 squared equals plus or minus the root of 6. So x minus 9 equals plus or minus the root of 6. The root of 6 is 2 times 3. It can't be simplified. So x equals 9 plus or minus the root of 6. So x is 9 plus root 6, or 9 minus root 6. Again, you can't add these because you only add root 6s to root 6s. And number 4, x plus 1 all squared equals 18. And the square root of x plus 1 squared plus or minus the square root of 18. And the square root of x plus 1 squared is x plus 1. And 18 is 9 times 2, so it's a 3 root 2. So x equals negative 1 plus or minus 3 root 2. So x is negative 1 plus 3 root 2, or negative 1 minus 3 root 2. And number 5, we have x plus root 2 squared equals 50. And the square root of x plus root 2 squared equals plus or minus the root of 50. So x plus, I could have done, well, let's go up right here. That's an x plus root 2, because the square root of x plus root 2 squared is x plus root 2, and that's a 50 right there. And the square root of 50 is 25 times 2, so it's a 5 root 2. So x equals negative root 2 plus or minus 5 root 2. Negative 2 plus 5 root 2, or negative 2 minus 5 root 2. And that's a, notice I left off the negative. This is a negative root 2, that's a negative root 2, and that's a negative root 2. Got to be careful. So negative 1 plus 5 is 4 root 2, or negative 1 subtract 5 is a negative 6 root 2. And everything is okay. I got 2 answers. Notice I'm adding root 2's to root 2's. And 2 answers because it's quadratic. Again, apologize for that little error there. I'm going too fast. I didn't do the square root of this side. I went to right here. And number 6, solve and check. So here we go. X minus root 2 squared equals 9. So I'll do the square root of each side. And the plus minus the root of 9. X minus root 2 equals plus or minus square root of 9 is 3. X equals 2 plus or minus 3. X equals 2 plus 3, or 2 minus 3. So x equals 5, or negative 1. And so we're going to check each of these answers. So x equals 5. So I'll write down the equation, and I'll sub in 5. So 5 goes in the equation. 5 is substituted in place of x. We do PEMDAS, we do the brackets, inside the brackets first. It's 3 squared. So that 5 minus 2 is 3. Now we do the powers next. So it's 9 minus 9. And 9 minus 9 is 0, and that's true. So 5 is the root. Let's check x equals negative 1. And the equation, is x minus 2 all squared minus 9 equals 0. We're going to sub a negative 1 in the place of x. And we do the inside the brackets first, which is negative 3. We do the power in x. Negative 3 squared is 9. Negative 3 times negative 3 is 9. And 0 equals 0. So the two solutions are 5 and negative 1 are the solutions to the equation. And I check both to make sure. And let's turn, if I can get this page turned over here. Let's do the next page. And we have one more to practice. Again, pause the video, work this out to see if you get the answers. So here we go. X plus a half squared equals 9 over 4. So the square root of x plus a half squared equals plus or minus the root of 9 over 4. So x plus a half equals plus or minus square root of 9 is 3, square root of 4 is 2. So x equals negative a half plus or minus 3 over 2. So x equals negative a half plus 3 over 2, or negative a half minus 3 over 2. And common denominator is 2, so negative 1 plus 3 is 2. And I'll finish that one out, that's a 1. And the common denominator again is 2. Negative 1 minus 3 is negative 4, so that comes out to be negative 2. And that's working out a variation. So this variation will be used again in the next couple of videos when I solve by completing the square. So I'm just doing a bit of practice on this variation of the square root property. And if you like my video, click the like button, click the subscribe button, the notification bell, because there are more videos coming your way. And visit my math website, www.mathfullyexplained.com, to find more information about me, my videos, and the content that's on my YouTube channel called Math Fully Explained. Thank you for viewing my video.